What's up, guys? It's Justin Kahn back with another Fractal Radio where we explore the most awesome blockchain games out there. And today I'm joined by Chris, the founder of Mirror World. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Justin?
I'm good. I'm great, actually. Just
I'm really
kind of
excited
early
to be
morning.
here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. So let's just dive in. Tell me about Mirror World and how you came to be creating it.
Yeah. So really excited to share with everyone. So a brief intro of Mirror World. We actually started the project about 8 months ago, and our team historically has been in gaming AI. We mostly focus on language algorithms as well as behavioral algorithms in large scale MMORPG and open world games. So we developed those solutions for top tier, world class gaming studios like IGG, Endgame, Perfect World across the globe as well. And during that process, we really wanted to create an autonomous digital world where like the digital beings themselves are self-selecting and self-governing. So we wanted to allow them to interact directly with the users, and we saw that NFTs as well as the blockchain technology would enable that for the entire virtual space to have its own governing ecosystem and economic system, right? And we, wrote our project in September last year and started building on top of the existing algorithms that we had, and allowed the NFTs as a representation of the digital asset where the users can develop their intelligence level. So every time you actually interact with the NFTs, whether through a conversational AI that we provide or through one of the games within our ecosystem, it's essentially a memory that kind of logs that interactivity on chain. And through more interactivity, you essentially create a higher intelligence level for the digital being as well. And that translates to different rewards within our ecosystem. And that started out last September. And my background has historically been, I was at ByteDance working on their SaaS product where we use different kind of creative tools to create different content. And artificial intelligence is an augmentation of that from my perspective. And I was also coming from a background of finance as well as film and content producing. And we looked at games extensively when I was at strategy investment for ByteDance. And it was just very interesting how that segue of finance and interactivity kind of came to an intersection when we were building this gaming matrix. And right now in our game loop, in our entire ecosystem, we actually have 3 games ready to roll out before Q3 next year. And we're looking to launch 2 of them before July this year. So really excited for that.
Awesome. That's a lot. So tell me about the games. Like, what are the games that you're going to launch?
So one thing that I would like to mention before I introduce the games are the AI algorithms that kind of connect all the different games. So every character essentially has a development game where you are just interacting and talking to the digital NFTs, right? The digital asset that you own. And that is essentially one of its own development games. And then the other games that we will be rolling out include a PvP battle royale kind of party game like mobile game. And then the other one will be a vertical screen ARPG where you're going through different levels, ranking ladders, and then just battling for the highest ranks. And that will be the second one. And then the third one in our pipeline is actually going to be a tower defense game where it's similar to an SLG plus a tower defense. You kind of protect your own land as well as your kind of farm system, right?
And so all of these games are on the same ecosystem and use the same AI NFT characters.
Exactly. So the characters themselves are called Mirror NFTs, and we have generations of Mirror NFTs, which is why we are partnering with Fractal on the launch as well. And the AI NFTs will be a one passing to every single one of our games, where we are looking for one set of NFTs to have their energy and their task system that are related to, correlated to all of the returns across different games as well.
So once is the idea that you'll be able to, you get one of these NFTs and then you are kind of training it in this development game that you're talking about or interacting with it. And from that, you're training this AI model that is unique for each NFT.
Yeah. So we think that it's a choice. So not everyone likes to chat with their NFT or do different activities with their NFTs. Some users actually prefer card games. Some users prefer development game. But like myself, I like MOBAs a lot better than the others, right? So the concept of a gaming matrix actually hedges the risk of single game not being able to adapt to mainstream popularity. We pick the games that are the easiest to play across different spectrums, and we want the AI aspect to be a part of the user journey where they can choose to interact with their digital assets if they choose to, and then kind of build up that emotional connection. But just like in real life, we actually feel that conversations like this, when we're like actually talking, is only a part of our relationship or friendship, right? Like we can potentially be playing ball or building up other startups, and those are social activities are also a part of your emotional connection with the asset or with your friend. So to put it represented in the digital world, the gaming content itself is also a representation of you developing a relationship with the characters. Just like when you're playing Pikachu in Web2 games, or when you're like doing adventures with your League of Legends characters, when you're looking at those IPs. And we think that content is also really important aside from just the AI algorithm interactivity.
And so is it one AI model that will play all of these different games, or are you building? Are you kind of building different models, and your AI has like at each one for each game that is in the Mirror World ecosystem?
Yeah. So some games will have a specific AI model and the others won't. And then there are, language models that are separate from the games. For example, there is just like a dialogue system where you're directly talking to your NFT as a way to kind of get that conversation going. It's like a chat window. That's also a game for us. And there's also a game where, you can drop your NFT just for a battle royale game, like PvP Battle Arena. And that's a different set of behavioral algorithms that we use. So, there are different algorithms attaching to each one of the games.
And so is the behavioral algorithm from one game, like let's say you're like you introduce a new Mirror World game or ecosystem game or something. Is it informed by the previous training of like the other models? If it's like something new to make it unique, or are you kind of starting from ground zero each time, like there's like a new experience?
So that's really interesting. Actually, we log the changes of the interactivity on chain. So like, let's say you have talked to your NFTs for 10,000 like minutes, right? We have that interactivity logged, so that the next time you go into a different game, your drop rate might actually be affected because you've already interacted with your NFTs for a longer period of time. And the personalities that you carry throughout the game. Some of our dialogue systems actually, the NFTs with AI-powered interactivity actually talks like Elon Musk, and the other one might actually talk like Kanye West, right? And those personalities actually carry out throughout different games. And as long as we're using the same set of algorithms, the games can actually represent those personalities throughout different products. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. So, okay, so what you're releasing first is a couple games that are coming out before July, and on top of this, this next that'll work on top of your NFT drop.
Exactly.
That's so cool. So tell me a little bit about. Actually, I'd love to watch that. I think should we watch the video?
Yeah.
We could.
Let's show that right now. So what's the first, like once someone buys one of these NFTs, like what's the first experience that they're going to have with it? Yeah, so as soon as you purchase the NFT, you can log into our official website, and then the one thing that we actually guide all of our users to do is directly go interact with your NFTs for the first time, right? You all start with a zero experience point where they're at like this primitive intelligence level, but still understand everything that you're saying. And our NFTs actually have different factions where you can pick and choose the side that you want to be on within this worldview that we're developing. And we have 3 different factions that represent different ideologies. And as soon as you log in and talk to your NFT, you instantly know which one it represents. So it's kind of identification and your identity within that game world. And that actually kind of follows through with our governance structure, where we designed a meta DAO, a sub DAO, kind of depends on the factions that you choose as well. So both in game and out game, I think the interactivity with your NFT would be the first thing that you can actually experience.
Awesome. Okay, and tell me about how the DAOs and sub DAOs are going to work, and how any tokenomics or crypto economics are going to work inside the ecosystem.
Yeah, of course. So we actually have 2 core loops when we're thinking about the tokenomics, because we're actually abstracting a lot of the AI algorithm as well as the development tools. We hope to actually open this ecosystem up for more developers to join in later. And the fact that we're actually developing multiple games allowed us to have a framework of interoperable assets that can go through different games. So there are 2 core loops within our tokenomics system. One is for the developers, and the other is for the players, right? The players essentially purchase assets to run this games, and then they run campaigns to essentially win different tickets, both for Web 2 and Web 3 assets with different values. And then the developers gets approved with a approval process from the DAO to create additional content or additional games within our ecosystem. And as soon as one of those games gets approved, and they can use any of our assets, any of our SDKs, contracts, and tools to create AI-powered additional games, and we allocate a part of our tokens to those CP or independent developers as well. And then within the individual games, we have a PvE circulation as well as a PvP circulation. I can pull up a graph if that's something that we're interested in. But yeah, essentially the in-game graphs are actually what dictates the in-game flow. And then we use our single token system to connect every single one of those games. I think this explains the Mirror World Matrix token pretty well. So game developers going to stake DAO and game. So developers to consume, and then gamers to produce, and then gamers to consume. And then Mirror World NFTs will be a one pass into all of these worlds, right? And then when we're
So your hope is like eventually people are going to be creating different games that interact with these NFT AIs, and they'll be incentivized in this ecosystem to do that.
Exactly. And we're not just hoping, we're actually having a pipeline of game developers that want to onboard the system. So they have existing products that they want to rebuild with our IP and with our toolkit.
And what are the ways that people are going to onboard, like game studios are going to integrate?
Yeah. So on a higher level, we call it a Matrix Core Engine. But it's essentially just 3 modules, right? It's an AI algorithm, 2 a gaming sandbox with an entity component framework, and then a blockchain adapter layer. I think the blockchain adapter layer is actually, the relatively important part. So I think similar to what you guys are trying to build to make gaming development for Web3 a lot easier, we actually started that as well, just because when we're developing multiple games, we saw that there are interoperability issues that we actually have to solve ourselves, including the contract SDKs, the indexer, on and off chain tracking. And we think that there are 3 main issues that we solve. One is to help developers determine what are the asset data structures that we want. Which ones are on-chain, which ones are off-chain. That kind of comes with a little bit of a discussion as well as consulting. And once we determine that, that's the second issue that we solve. It's the on and off-chain tracking. How do we track these data from all these accounts as well as all these wallets? And then the third part, which is going to be after you determine the on and off chain data tracking, how are we going to develop the contracts necessary for you to actually mint and trade and upgrade even these contracts? And then we actually have that within our pipeline already. So those are the three main issues that we are aiming to solve when we're talking about onboarding game studios. And then the AI part is an additional feature where if you want to use it, then we guide you to certain scenarios. For example, a text-based RPG is perfect for any one of our text-based algorithms, and then a multiplayer battle arena game is perfect for any one of our behavioral battle algorithms. But these are kind of modules that you can use.
Awesome. Cool. And so tell me about how you've funded the company so far. Did you raise money?
Yeah, so we started this company that was incubated by our mother company called RCT AI. RCT AI was a traditional AI company in the gaming space, and I had the current project spun out of that mother company, and we're independent in operations as well as human capital, as well as funding structure. And in January, we actually closed our first private round, led by Republic Crypto, Galaxy Interactive, as well as FTX Ventures or Alameda Research, and then followed by guys from YGGC, Avocado DAO, Mirrama, OKX, all those guys as well, including like IBC Crypto. So we were really lucky, but also we built extremely fast in the first couple months of our development schedule, and just executed so that we could raise that private sale. And then that's how we funded the development so far.
Congrats. Cool. So tell us about the launch. Like, what are you launching, and when are we launching it together?
So initially, we were an Ethereum-based projects, and we very quickly saw the limitations of building on top of Ethereum. However, we did have a pretty good community that were, ETH, that were on ETH as well. So we made a decision in January after the fundraise, actually before the fundraise, to cross-chain to Solana, and very naturally we decided to look for Solana launchpads as well as Solana ecosystem projects where the community is very, very vibrant and would provide additional value to our community as well. And I think Fractal is just a very easy choice when it comes to gaming NFTs. And we are actually co-launching the second generation assets after we've already sold out our Genesis collection, and after cross-chaining, we decided to have a lower barrier of entry for new community members on Solana as well. So this generation will be pricing at a lower price point than the first generation, which is going to be around 1 SOL for our launch. And Fractal is just the perfect partner for us to be the exclusive Solana partner launchpads. But for this generation, we're also thinking about how we can make our project multi-chain in the future, where we want as many community members joining our community as possible, right? So we've had extensive communication with different launchpads across different chains, including Binance NFT, Galler, those guys as well. But for Solana, we decided that Fractal was the right exclusive partner for us to do this launch.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to do it. This is awesome. So where can people find out more about Mirror World on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, aside from Fractal, definitely a lot of information will be there as well. Probably looking at early June for all that to go live with you guys. But I think additionally, definitely would advocate for everyone to join our Discord channel, because we do have a very, very vibrant community there. It's growing recently very rapidly. And we think that in the bear market, we actually focus on building extremely important features within this market. So there are development updates as well as potentially alpha leaks within our community more than other channels. And I think Discord is somewhere we actually tie into Zendesk, and we're looking to tie issue trackers within our community as well to the gaming development team, so that everything can be responsive at the fastest point.
Awesome. So you're in your Discord all the time, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's 1:30 a.m. my time right now. I was just in Discord doing another AMA.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you. This is cool. I'm really excited for the NFT.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really excited to have you guys on board the community as well, and thanks for having me.